This is going to be raw, unedited, unfiltered, just straight up camera advice from me, Kip Jackson, cinematographer and YouTuber for the past 4 or 5 years now. And the year is 2024 and you're looking to buy a camera. Sony A6000 in 2024, still good. You can't get 4K, great. Sony A6100, Sony A6300, 64, 65, 66, and 6700. I recommend all of those cameras in 2024, really because one, they offer you a lot for social media. You could take pictures, videos, and you can have interchangeable lenses on both of those cameras. Now, as I was going up and describing each and every single one of those cameras, and I'm like, oh, this guy might be naming all the Sony cameras. Like, no, I'm going to niche them down into specifics as to which one is really meant for each person and why you should pick that up. So if you're somebody who is looking to get into weddings, who is either a photographer or a videographer and doesn't have the necessarily huge budget, get a Sony APS-C or the Sony A6000 series cameras that I just mentioned. Now, I'm only mentioning Sony cameras because that's where I got my start. I did not get my start in Canon or Blackmagic. However, I did start to use those cameras on the later end of my career, which is like, now. But Sony A6000, really cheap. Now you can get it from MPB or KEH.com for like $300. And to be honest, that camera is what a lot of people's viral social media content or this really, really cool looking cinematic few videos on the internet that you see have been shot on. I mean, just search it up. Go to YouTube right now, come back to my video, but go search up Sony A6000 cinematic. And that's where the Sony really made a name for themselves, in that Sony A6000. So if you're looking to buy something in 2024 and you don't really want to risk it, Sony A6000, Sony A61, 63, and 6400. Those 4 or 5 cameras that I just mentioned just now are your starter cameras. And you can even, put them off as professional, because I use the Sony A6400 as my B camera on my podcast and no one even notices the difference. Now, I am a videographer, cinematographer, so yeah, I notice the difference because you can't match them up particularly perfectly to something like this, which is like a cinema camera that has been rigged out to the utmost, perfection thing. Now we're gonna, zoom this up here and now talk about the higher tier of videography or photography that you're trying to get into, and that's that A6600, A6700, and I even want to include on that the FX30. Now, those 3 cameras, in my opinion, are perfect for, even you can still take videos with the photos with the FX30, but those are the epitome of really increased level of production, or someone who's really looking to take that step forward and market themselves as a cinematographer or as someone who offers video services that are high quality. Now, in my opinion, the A6700 and the FX30 are really similar in their functionality, and their colors also match pretty well to something like this or an FX3. So if you're someone who is looking for a B camera on your set or looking to increase the reliability of you showing up to set, God forbid you just showed up with this and this died on you, having an FX30 or an FX3 in your bag would be essential. But those cameras are really in my second tier. Again, I'll repeat that for you guys. That is this A65, 66, 6700, and at the top tier, that would be the FX30. Now let's move into my bigger cameras that I would recommend. Now, if you're someone who does like, real estate photography, you need megapixels, or someone who does landscapes and really selling their photos to the public, get something with an R in their title, like the A7R, like that brand of photography or that brand of Sony cameras is really marketed for their resolution or their size of photography, or the size of their photos, really. So if you're taking a photo on this A7R5 or is that even the right A7R5? Yeah, A7R3, A7R4, or the A7R5. Those 3 cameras, in my opinion, I would pick up if I was picking up, the ability to start landscape or sports photography. Even they're not as fast, when it comes to the shooting speed as, maybe the A9 series that just came out this year, but I don't want to get sidetracked. Those 3 cameras that I just mentioned, perfect for that. A7R, 3, 4, and 5. However, when you do get those cameras, bro, or gal, get bigger memory cards. Now, that is one of my biggest probably mistakes that I made in my videography photography career is not having the appropriate memory card with the camera. I even did it with this one right here. Like, this is an FX6, bro, and I got it. And when I got it, and when I got home, and I was like, before I got this whole external monitor and, you know, SSD kit, I had these regular memory cards, these SSD or these SD cards that didn't have the necessarily high enough bit rate to capture the video or the photos that I had, you know, stored on this camera, really the video. But moving forward into now hybrid shooters. Now, if you're someone who does both of these things, if you shoot videography and photography and you really want to be both, and you want to do both efficiently and have good battery life, all that stuff, I recommend the A7 series of cameras. That's the A7 III and the A7 IV. I'm actually shooting this video right now on the A7 III, and all of my work up until last year, every single thing, social media, marketing campaigns, photography for weddings, videography for sports, anything that I shot up to that point, and that's all lenses, all cinematic work, anything, all these 500 videos on my YouTube channel, they were shot on this camera, the A7 III. Now, that camera has gone down so much in price. So much in price. And if you're looking to be, I don't even know why I'm excited about this, but if you're looking to be someone who gets into, sorry about that weird pause, but someone who gets into videography in general, and you want to have longevity in this shoots in 4K. Like, I've used it, and people are like, yo, that looks so sick. And I'm like, all I did was get up in the morning and bring my camera. Like this camera is a lifesaver now. It doesn't have all the wheels and wheels. Somebody correct me in the comments, but it doesn't have all the wheels and bezels, yeah, that a lot of the newer ones have. Like, that's all the matching color profiles to match something like this, or like 4K 120, which a lot of people, you know, you don't even use. I haven't used 4K 120 yet, nor have I had a client ask me, oh, does your camera shoot in 4K 120? No one's ever asked me that. So A7 III, A7 IV, perfect for the people just getting started, and they're looking to expand on those in the next coming years. Next group of people. Now, these group of people are doing documentaries, they're doing dedicated music videos, they're doing dedicated video work. FX3, FX30, FX6. Notice I recommended the FX30 for the second time. Lowest price point, has one of these things right here, the XLR handle that lets you get high quality sound. Now, don't always have to be the sound guy. That was my biggest mistake in my career, like trying to be the sound guy and the video guy. Super hard, and you really can't focus on everything at once. So yes, learn it, but no, you don't have to always do both. And it's good to know both so you can market yourself, you know, get paid more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But those three cameras, in my opinion, FX3, FX6, and FX30, for someone looking to step up their game and just be the video guy, or just be super reliable to do, you know, short films, and have it look unique, or have it look similar between cameras across the board, have a good battery life, have the ability to use gimbals, which is that, you know, Steadicam feature, or an easy rig, something that goes over the top of your backpack there. Having those three in 2024, 2025, 2026, whew, it's getting cold in here, gotta speed this video up, would be really important. FX6 is obviously overkill for anybody who's doing social media, but FX3, FX30, good price point, and you can really get away with using that on social media, or, you know, all your wedding footage. And I really love the videos that I've seen on the internet and the videos that I produce with the FX3 and the FX30 over the years. I actually have a Sony FX6 with the Sony FX30 as my B camera, so I rent those out when the time comes, when people need them. But that's not the point of this video. My next group of people are people looking to just blow bank. Like, you're gonna skip through this entire video, or you probably already know all these cameras, you've been doing your research, and this is the Sony Alpha 1 line. Now, these cameras bred like the Sony Alpha A9 or the Sony Alpha 1, Sony A1 is what it's called, right? Sony A1. That camera, $6,000. Costs just as much as my cinema camera. Now, it takes photos, cool. Sony A9 III, Sony A9 II. Those cameras are also awesome. Sony A9 III has that global shutter, which means that it doesn't have any wobble when you're taking a ton of photos, which, you know, if you have the bank for that and you really want to be like an Olympic photographer or a professional athlete photographer, you want to get your stuff on top of magazines, say you're at a, you know, sporting game match, whatever you want to call it, you're down on the court and you don't want to miss a moment. Having those cameras, again, equipped with great lenses and equipped with great memory is key. Sony A9, I'll say it again, Sony A9 II, Sony A9 III, and Sony Alpha 1 camera. Now, those three really, really top tier, super expensive. And now my last tier of cameras for the Sony people, you know, if you really get into it, you know, you're the video person, you are running a production company, you're running a all-in-one production house, you have tons of money to, you know, throw out. That is the FX6. Notice I'm recommending that again. The Sony Burano, which is an awesome camera that is basically a steroided version of the FX6, and the Sony Venice 1 and 2. Now, those 3-4 cameras, if you're running a production house, you're running a production company, would be the ones that I recommend. They just functionality across the board, set up for doing video, set up for doing big project work, set up for teams. If you really want to break that down, all the cameras that I mentioned before this aren't really set up for teams and set up for really run and gun shooting, those other cameras. But these 4 in this category, expensive, yes. Some of them come with top handles, some of them don't, but those cameras really will be for big teams and big budgets. So if you like this video and you really want to get into videography, again, start with that A6000 series cameras, or start with the camera in your phone, bro. Just start with the camera in your phone. Start with the camera in your phone. Start with the phone in your pocket, because that's what I did, and then slowly progress and learn throughout your journey. And don't be so concerned with the numbers and the gear and everything like that, because gear will come. If I was really obsessing with gear when I first started, I wouldn't be as creative, I wouldn't be as successful, and I wouldn't have as much fun with the filmmaking. Now, as you grow, you're going to realize, oh, I need a camera that does this, or I need a camera that does that, rather than just having all of it and never actually using it. In my opinion, slow growth is key. That's why you look at this channel. Slow growth is organic. Slow growth is key. Now, we all start somewhere, and that is my motto. Cinematographer Kip Jackson. If you like any of these videos, follow. It's getting super cold in here, so welcome to 2024, and good luck. Peace.